Driverless cars are on their way. The hype is already here. But what will this mean for our cities and how we get around them? This is your 5-minute focal points. There's a lot of noise about the promise of this new technology, particularly through reducing the number of people killed or hurt on our roads each year by eliminating human error, or opening up travel to the elderly, young and disabled people. It's also been said they'll be advanced enough to solve many of the other problems cities face every day, like congestion and pollution, through technology or data or some clever way no one's actually explained yet. In many cities, public officials are already trying to encourage people to drive less, not more. Both New York and London want to get car use down to just 1 in 5 journeys over the next few decades. But why would they want to do this? Why would they want to try and influence how we choose to get around? Without understanding this, we can't understand what driverless cars will mean for cities across the world. Their reasons usually bottle down to what are known as negative externalities, essentially the harm caused by a car to those around it. Some of these are really obvious to anyone who lives in a big city. As the saying goes, you're not sitting in traffic, you are traffic. Too many people driving along a stretch of road simply means delays for everyone using that road. The noise caused by these vehicles will be all too familiar to anyone living on a busy road. Anyone who's been hurt on a road knows someone who's been hurt or maybe just felt scared trying to cross the street. Find more meaning in the statistics that at least 30,000 people are killed each year on American roads alone. And that's not all. There are some subtler impacts. As well as contributing to climate change, the fumes coming out of fossil fuel cars, particularly diesels, make the surrounding air harmful to breathe, leading to thousands of premature deaths and worsening health conditions like asthma. Over time, cars can even start to harm the health of the people who own them, increasing their risk of a host of diseases as they become less physically active. Roads like this can put people off walking even more, and in some cases cut communities in two, just by making it harder for people on either side to mix. So now we know how today's cars affect our cities, how will driverless ones be different? Perhaps the easiest prediction is what will happen to death and injuries on our roads. A driver that doesn't get distracted, doesn't speed, doesn't get sleepy or drunk would appear to be a far safer one. This could also have positive knock-on effects like making it less intimidating to cross a busy road or take up cycling. That said, how will these vehicles interact with everybody already using busy city streets? Get this wrong and it's possible things could become more confusing and less safe, at least to begin with. How much a driverless car contributes towards noise and emissions will depend on the engine it uses. The signs here are mostly positive, supposedly the idea being that high-tech automation will go hand in hand with high-tech electric engines. There's no guarantee this will be the case. Even if the engines are all electric, tiny particles coming off the tyres and brakes can still make the surrounding air harmful to breathe. The UK has recent experience of promoting one type of car to improve one problem, diesel over petrol for the sake of global climate change, only to discover it was making a different problem worse, local air quality. There are different schools of thought on congestion as well. One is that the ability of these vehicles to talk to each other will see streams of coordinated, organised and tightly packed cars, making traffic jams a thing of the past. Another is that since they won't have to drive anymore, people want their cars to accelerate slowly enough for them to work, relax, even sleep in the back, meaning fewer cars squeezing through the lights each time. Driverless cars being able to pick people up and drop them off wherever they want to be could have significant impacts on how physically active people are. While it might sound appealing, the zero physical effort required might end up bringing us a step closer to the 2008 film WALL-E, where humans are carried around by floating chairs, saving the age-old problem of having to walk anywhere. So overall, it appears that an individual driverless car would probably cause less harm if it were driverless. But this doesn't answer our question about cities as a whole. Cleaner, more efficient vehicles won't make things better if there are far too many of them driving around. That depends on how they're used and, crucially, who uses them. One end of the spectrum is a scenario where people give up owning their own car and instead share access to vehicles on demand, meaning people in cities will only use cars when they really need to. The less optimistic scenario is one where anyone who owns a car keeps it because, people understandably like their cars. And anyone who doesn't already own a car starts sharing a driverless one like a cheap taxi. Those who own their own driverless car could ask it to circle the block instead of parking. Some people might even move further out of cities and commute longer distances, so they can now work or sleep on their way to the office, just increasing congestion further. In this situation, driverless might make for better cars, but they'll definitely make for worse cities. In places where most people own a car already, driverless might be mostly upside. But in cities where walking, cycling, public transport are already popular, there's a lot more to lose. The question is, when you're sitting in a traffic jam in 10 years' time and you're not doing the driving, will you still care?